we see a lot of behavior changes in children of various age group, and a team of researchers have already working over it so that we can find out the best ways to deal with this situation. It is more grave than any of us can probably think, and I would like to start with creating a little bit of awareness by sharing a small research with you. So in a recent survey, 4H Youth Mental Health Survey, which was done in US by Harris Poll, 1,500 teenagers participated in the same, and the revelation is pretty shocking. So 7 out of 10 said that they were struggling with their mental health in one or the other way. More than 50% said that they experienced anxiety. 40%, 45% said that they felt excess stress. 43% identifies that they struggled with depression. 61% of teens said that the COVID-19 and the after effect has increased their feeling of loneliness. So this is coming straight from the student community, and it is quite shocking. And if we don't address this issue now, I think it will have very far-fetching experiences for everybody, which will not go in the right way. So let's go ahead and see the possible reasons why such issues have been erupting. You all would agree with me that in the past 2 to 2.5 years, the screen time of this age group, or children for that matter, has increased. So even now that we have become offline in our conduct, children are still utilizing a lot of screen time. So it has increased 6 hours per day, somewhere between 6 hours to 9 hours per day, apart from the schooling that they are doing. And for younger kids, I'm talking about, let's say, age 2 to 6, it has increased 90% than what it actually was. And it has not decreased after COVID-19 lockdown. Due to the pandemic and its after effects, kids have either become very introvert or extremely attention seeking. These are the signs that we have already seen in the classrooms. We have also been sharing it with parents, that children are either not sharing at all, or they are always seeking attention one or the other way, whether at home or in school. Parents have also loosened their discipline radar to overcompensate the pandemic loss. So even for parents also, it was a difficult situation, one of its kind. They couldn't know how to deal with it. So now when the children are out in the regular world, parents are disciplining them less than what is required. So what happens in that case is children are not into that self-discipline. The figure of self-discipline in a child is not getting developed because of the process. Sudden availability of resources and access to children has actually blown everything out of proportion. Right? There has to be in a student's life, there has to be a right balance of the resources that are available to them, because there's so much of exposure online, offline, that now these children, they don't know how to utilize these resources and how to create a balance. Digital dependency is more than before. So for every answer that they're seeking, they'll instantly go to the resources, the video resources available on the internet or Google. And the ability to think, to create, to innovate is in a very subtle way, is actually declining. Right? Also, let's not forget that all these resources are also addictive. They give a sudden boost to their confidence and they become addicted to it, be it online gaming or reels or Insta or Snapchat or even other video resources as well. It's pretty addictive. What is the current situation? So I've divided the age group into two segments. So between 2 to 12 years, these are the common things that we have noticed. One is no physical activity, or very, very less physical activity. Children are aggressive in their behavior, but of course so when you don't have a source where you can pent out your pent up energy, then of course the aggression is as a byproduct of the same. Break in their usual routine. So the usual routine that they had before COVID lockdown is complete. We are not able to get back to the same routine, right? Which is a must in a student's life, that is still lacking. They have completely disturbed sleep patterns. So you have the schooling to do, then you have your homework to do. And after that, whatever time you are left with, you are too busy either on OTT or on the social media that I spoke about. So of course, the sleep pattern is completely disturbed. So instead of 8 to 9 hours of good sleep, these children are managing within 6 hours of sleep. And their young bodies are not equipped to handle that kind of a pressure. No sensory engagement. So of course, since there's no physical activity, it is again a byproduct that no sensory engagement is there. And a person learns especially in younger age, learns through sensory engagement only. So that is directly proportional to them not being cognitively more active, not being cognitive, not showing cognitive development. Their attention span has reduced to even lesser than what it was. In any case, this age group has very less attention span, that it has further reduced. So it is very difficult even in the classrooms to bring them back into a structure and make them focus in an activity and do it. Whereas on the other hand, with the age group 13 to 17 years, the problems are very different. So number one, peer interaction is missing. Even now that the peer is available in school and otherwise, the children have gone into a mode for the last 2 years that they're not able to talk or express. Too much of screen time, yes, of course, as I discussed, 6 hours to 9 hours of screen time, which is too much for any brain to handle. No fixed schedule, even in their case, no proper time to eat, sleep, work, none of it. So no self, and then the worst part is that they are not able to self-analyze, right? So because lack of self-discipline, no fixed schedule, and even the discipline is also not too strong right now, they are not able to analyze their own situation and correct it. Social interactions are very less. That's why, again, the social emotional development is suffering. They are also children of this age also have adolescent issues, but because there is no social interaction or peer interaction, they are not able to talk to their peer about the issues that they may be dealing with. So that further leads to a very complex personality disorder, which can turn into a personality disorder later. Of course, they have an anxiety around their future career, which again, when they're not able to talk about it, that anxiety increases. Let's say, how can we deal with this situation? So some very few ideas that we have already worked around in our schools with our parents. So here I'm sharing it with you. For 2 to 6 years, please try to arrange more and more play dates and outdoor activities. Bring them out in the sun. The weather is beautiful. Bring them out in the sun. Let them play. Arrange for play dates, maybe in the neighborhood or even in the school during Saturdays. Apart from the regular school, the schools can also arrange these play dates for children. Non-verbal cues, a lot of smiles, hugs, nods, baby talks, cute name callings have to be there so that the child feels safe and secured. You have to increase the level of sense of security in the child. Engage them in activities which involve sensory, touch, taste, smell, etc. So you can even do this at home while you're cooking food or you're preparing for cooking food. You can involve children in helping you with the peeling of vegetables and with these small activities, so that the children are involved with you in the household. Number one, together you can do the laundry, or you can help the children can help you fold the clothes. So all these things can be done together. Making your own bed, these small activities around the household, involve them, let them feel the activities through their senses. Provide a sense of safety and security. So family, any family for that matter, for a child, is a safe and secure place. So make sure that even in terms of disagreements or arguments that you may be having, please make sure that it doesn't reflect on children, that it doesn't reflect in front of children. They need to have the strong sense of safety and security at home, so that they can be rest assured about their safety, and then they can further go out and become more talkative with other children, can also start talking to their peers. Keep a check on their screen time on the content. Now, very shocking revelation tells us that even in the cartoons that children see, in a very subtle way, these inappropriate intonations are inserted in these videos. So if you see few videos children are watching, you never know, when you're not there, the child might end up watching something which is not meant for the child as an audience, right? So please keep a check on the screen time. Whatever content you're giving, download it and then let the child see. You have to be a little careful around it. Also, because it is very addictive, so keep a time limit to the same every day, and please follow it. 7 to 12 years, limit their news exposure. So there's a lot of, especially for this age group, because this age group, they are forming their opinions, right? So all sort of news are available in the world. At least have control on their news exposure, so that they are up to date with what is happening in the world, but also at the same time, they're not too much emotionally burdened because of the wrongs happening around them. right? Because you must have seen these days the news channels, they propagate everything in a very give it a proper limelight to every crime situation. Try to avoid these kind of reflections to your child, because the child is in an age that they can form opinions, right? And this kind of overexposure, I would say, would actually ruin their thinking process. They might end up thinking that the world is an unsafe place, and we don't want that. This can also lead to the aggressive behavior later on. Exposure to violence can lead to aggressive behavior eventually. Remind kids challenges that they have overcome in the past. So you also need to give confidence to children that, okay, this is something that you were not able to do, but then you made all the efforts, you learned it, and you started doing it, which means this gives the confidence to the child that the child is able to provide solutions to his or her own problems, right? So make them keep reminding them of the challenges that they have overcome. Online gaming and use of reels, as I said, these are very addictive tools, and children are these days are it's bizarre, but children are trying to create content which is of no value, but for the sake of getting more viewers and more likes, it's a craze everywhere, right? So you have to draw the line, because online gaming is not the only problem these days. Making of reels, and everybody, I understand parents also want to give an exposure to their children, but somewhere you have to also draw a line, right? So that it does not become addictive. Because we have observed in our classrooms that children these days, they have this discussion among themselves that I posted this and these many likes I've got, how many likes did you get? So they're actually judging each other on their Insta image. Daily family communication is a must. So how can you pull them out of the social network or the online exposure? You bring more real things to them. A daily family communication is must. 1 hour of communication if it is possible. Then what did I do, what did you do during your day, what were your learnings during the day, how do you think you can improve your day better? Okay, what are the challenges that you're facing? Have a family time and talk about these things. It is very, very important. Show them the real world, take them out, the activities that can be done, take them out for historical walks, take them out from to museum, take them out, if nothing else, just take them out for a basket picnic. Make them see the real things. Go for a morning walk, go for a walk in the garden. Let them look at the nature. So you have to create the alternative of online, right? So you have to create an offline real world. You have to bring that real offline world to the child, because otherwise your child is not leaving the phone and not coming out of the house. So you have to bring that new world to the child. Coming to the last age category, which is 13 to 17 years. This is a very critical age wherein children are, because they're becoming smarter, but at the same time, they're a little insecure about the changes that are happening in their body and mind. As I said, that peer interaction is very less these days, so they're not able to express themselves. Of course, they don't express to the parents in any case, right? So one important thing that you this age group requires is communication, either through friends or through family. Instead of asking direct questions, you rather start telling about yourself. The moment they see you as people who also have emotional up and down, they will find the whole process realistic, and will emote, and then might start telling you about their life and the issues that they are facing. And when they do that, please don't judge them. That's a very important thing. So if you really want your children to come to you and talk about their struggles, then you have to be non-judgmental towards them. So start with sharing your emotions, so the child sees your vulnerability, and that's when they will start opening up. Do not shield them from difficult situations and feelings and challenges. If they want to cry, let them cry. It's the process, it's the catharsis that they have to undergo as human beings. They have to face their own challenges and difficult situations and come out of them. They have to find out their own ways to come out of them. It's their process as a human being. They're evolving. Don't do it for them. You will stop the whole process of their natural growth, right? But you can, of course, speak to them, guide them. Don't teach them. There is a difference. So don't tell them the steps of coming out of the problem. Let them figure it out, come to you and discuss it with you. You can give your validation later on, but do not do it for them. Let them know that it is okay to have mixed feelings, right? That we're not all, the world does not exist between black and white, right? So it is okay, some shades of grays are okay. All right, it is okay if they are feeling anxious, it is okay if they are feeling a little depressed today, but the more important thing is that you try to pull yourself out of it, right? It is okay to feel anxious, but what are you doing about it? So let children feel it, feel every part of emotion, and then try to learn how to balance it. Share stories, a very interesting thing that you can do, and this is also bond you better with your children, is that you share your teenage years. Very often as parents we think that no, 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 we are not going to tell them about the mistakes that we did, but I think it's a good idea that you do, so that they see you as real humans, number one. Number two, they are comfortable with the thought that yeah, these things can happen, and since you as a parent came out of it, I can also come out of it, right? And as I said, please don't judge them when they're sharing. These are the teenage years. See, the moralities of the societies have also changed. What was wrong in our time when we were younger is not wrong now, right? So you all also have to broaden your perspective when dealing with a teenager, because the moment they realize that maybe you don't understand what they're talking, they'll stop talking. Treat them like adults. Even I tell this to all the parents that even a 2-year old, when treated like an adult, will respond to you better, right? When they're respected like an adult, they respond to you better. So treat them like adults. Seek their opinions. If there is a problem going on in the household, sit with them, ask them, what do you think we should do? Right, try to consider the suggestion that they give. Sometimes they might come up with some very bright ideas, and if you include their ideas, they feel appreciated. They feel appreciated as an adult, right? Their decision making abilities improve automatically. They become more responsible automatically. All right, so they would not think that you're just talking about an issue. They would feel that yes, their opinion matters, right? This is very important for a young adult. This confidence is very important for a young adult to get, so that when they go out in the world, when they go out in the college, they already are strong, self-disciplined, confident human beings. All right, and now in the end, I have a very three four common things that parents can do irrespective of the age group. And it takes a little bit of hard work, but once it gets into your regular routine, then it's not difficult, and it is miraculous. These things that you do regularly, it's a miracle actually. So parents themselves can demonstrate how they face challenges and frustration head on, and use different coping tactics like meditation, talking to loved ones, making art, playing music, etc. So when you come back home and you're stressed from work, you can tell them, today this is a very difficult day for me. I was not able to handle my project, and I'm going to probably go tomorrow and work on it. But today I need to de-stress myself. So let's just sit and paint something. Would you like to do that with me? Involve your children in that. Play a nice music and say, okay, we are going to just relax and listen to this lovely music. Do you want to play your kind of music? Do that. If you're meditating for 5 minutes, let children also join you. All right. They should know that these are the ways in which you deal with your daily stress. And it is important because it is important for you. Number one, 50% it is important for you, and 50% it is important for your child, because they're learning the coping techniques from you. Right, so do it in practice so that they learn. Okay, model self-care. Self-care is very important. Very often parents forget about taking care of themselves, so it is very important, and children are viewing you, they're watching you every time, they're learning every bit from what you are doing, from your daily routine. So if you maintain a healthy lifestyle, they will automatically have it, right? So maintain a healthy diet, keeping a good sleep count for yourself is important. Exercising whatever little time you have, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, exercising a bit, relaxing a bit. All these things, when you do for yourself, not to show to the children but for yourself, your children will automatically pick up these things. And these are the techniques which usually if you do regularly, it's kind of takes you away from the growing depression or anxiety automatically. All right, so these are the daily things that you can do. Repeatedly tell them that they are safe, and you have a loving family to take care. Verbally show the gratitude for the house, food, and life that you have. It is not a religious thing, but it's more psychological, right? So every time that you sit and you say that, we're so lucky that we have a house, we're so lucky that you have these resources, we're so lucky that we have internet, that we have lovely food, and we are sharing this food together. When you talk about these things, and they create a high value in the child's life. So instead of comparing life in terms of materialistic things that you have, this kind of gratitude really goes a long way, and a child will start feeling this automatically. So in their low times, they will automatically start feeling gratitude towards the things that they have, when compared to what they don't have. So this is again a practice. Gratitude is a practice which is very important. It gets easily imbibed into one's personality, and people who are full with gratitude, they achieve more. Okay, screen time to be taken seriously by all family members. So it's not that you tell your children to not use the phone, but you are on the phone all the time, right? So they see, and what value content. If you're not watching value content, then they do see that, they do observe that you asked us not to watch all this, but you're watching it yourself. So self-discipline is more important here. Be watchful of what you are watching, because again, it is addictive for the children, but it is also addictive for you. So you have to make sure that whatever you're watching, number one, it is useful, because children are listening to what you're watching, if even if they're not watching. And secondly, you have to self discipline the way you have disciplined your children. Children will take the discipline even more seriously if you do that. So I think with this, I've come to the end of the presentation, and I hope these tips help you, and uh, would go a long way in bringing a balance in children's life.
Thank you, Ms. Nandita. It was a very informative session. You have covered the problems, the solutions, all ages, the behavioral issues, and especially I really like the point of the gratitude, right? So you covered pretty much everything, all the questions. I was going through the questions. You covered pretty much everything, but again, I would like to read those to you. A couple of questions are from Ms. Poonam. The first question is, studies claim that TV shows, movies, and video games leads to increased aggression and can often hamper a child's downtime activities and social learning. How do we combat this out? Anyway, you have explained this, but like I'm reading out this question to you again.
Yeah. So I think, as I said, that self-discipline, it flows down from you to the child. Very often I've seen parents watching, binge watching, and the children are aware that my parents have been watching a particular series the whole night, and then the next day you stop them from not watching an episode. So that's a little unfair. Maybe you can have a family time, and you know that this particular season we are going to watch together. Maybe during the weekend we are going to finish it together, so that children don't have that craze of doing it on their own, and you also keep watching what they're watching. Right. So, we have given so much into this whole process. We have given a lot of freedom to the children. So taking back the freedom will be a little difficult, I understand. But then we have to do it, right? Bit by bit. Try to you give logic to children. If you give logic to children, they do understand. As you treat an adult, treat them like an adult, and give a logic, they do understand. But this is something that we have done it. We have to undo it now. Yeah, Pravina, can we have the next question? I think we'll wait for Pravina to join us back. Meanwhile, I would just like to give you certain examples of how extreme it can go. So, a couple of months back, we had one of these students who applied for, the parents applied for a medical leave for the child. When we inquired further about what happened to the child was in the state of coma. And why the child was in state of coma? Because for 2 days consecutively, the child was playing an online game. I would not like to name the game, but the child was in the virtual world for 2 days. And after 2 days, he was eating, not sleeping, eating. And parents didn't realize that the child is not sleeping for 2 days. So 48 hours straight of online gaming. And the child projected himself into the online game so much that the child went into coma, right? And later on, when I started reading about such cases, you were surprised to know that every day there are at least hundreds of cases coming up wherein children, they just get into the virtual world, and they're not able to come out of it, right? Because for them, that becomes the real world. That is the addictive impact of an online game, I would say. Similarly, as I said, that the behavioral issues of children is now based on Instagram reels, the views that they get, the likes that they get. They are assessing each other based on how many likes do you have, which is so wrong in terms of, in so many ways, because they are not able to understand they're not able to understand the personalities of each other. Yeah, so sorry for the glitch. So the whole idea around bringing self discipline in children's life is because if you don't do it today, it will be, their personalities are getting formed every day, right? So this codependency of online and offline, unfortunately, the schools have also become hybrid. Most of the schools have now become hybrid, which was a necessity when we were coming out of COVID lockdown and bringing children back to school. Keeping future in mind, there can be a situation sometime that we have to get back to online schooling, like in Delhi, during the pollution, the break that we got because of the pollution. Schools had to switch back to online schooling, but those who are still continuing with the hybrid model and giving assignments on Instagram, giving assignments on online, that has to be controlled. The schools also have to be mature enough to understand that all this leads to children and brings them more online than offline. Right now we have to do absolutely the opposite of what we did during the COVID times. We have to create these activity centers for children other than schools, wherein children can go out and play. You see children now, after COVID, now when they have been sent back to cricket academies or sport clubs, these children are not able to play a sport for more than 25 minutes. That's because they're not habitual to it anymore, right? So that is the worry, because these are the growing age. We have to bring them back to a particular, the balanced point where the physical development is also happening, the mental development is also happening. Now what happens when you're online all the time? After a point of time, your thinking abilities, they limit themselves, right? The internet starts showing you videos of your choices, but what if I want to see something else? What if I want to learn about something else other than what I was already watching? But the internet has already limited my approach to what I was watching previously, right? So I am not, it is restricting me from learning about the other things which otherwise I could have if I was surfing through books. The patience that is required to read a book, to write a book, is not present in these children right now. So in the future, imagine a world where you have a generation who cannot sit and write, who cannot sit and read. Also, at the same time, there's too much of information on the net over every topic. Like, and 90% of it is not based on any research, but children read it and they believe it. So where to stop it? Because you have to create a balance, right? The schools have to take a step towards the same, and but at the same time, on family level, parents also have to be a little vigilant, and it is not difficult. Basic things that I spoke about: self-discipline. To start with self-discipline, it is important, and then it flows down to your children automatically. I've seen these children who, parents are so balanced in their approach that they are able to do everything. So it is possible. All you have to do is be a little thoughtful of every action of yours, thoughtful of the freedom that you're giving to the children. I'm not saying stop their screen time. No, it's not possible. We have gone much beyond, much ahead of that. They should have constructive screen time, right? So that they learn about the world through the screen time, but at the same time, they're also connected to the real world. So one of our viewers have questioned that if there is a demand of trained qualified counselors in the school. Yes, there is a demand, and you would be surprised to know that even before that, like CBSE prescribes a particular number of students and a ratio of the counselor, but many of the schools were not able to fulfill it even before COVID-19 because of the lack of such service providers, because of the lack of trained counselors, right? After COVID, it has increased because now this ratio has to be decreased. One counselor cannot take care of 300 children. So we are in desperate. The education industry is in desperate need of uh, proper trained counselors for children. A lot of schools have already hired, in the process of hiring them. A lot of people are also taking online support or support from external agencies for the same thing. But yes, if the school that your child is going into is not able to support that, then I would suggest that you can probably also go ahead and take individual counseling sessions for your children. It is not wrong. It will avoid a lot of issues which may come later on. Right, so probably you can have a family counseling, or you can have a specific counseling for your child, and within a few sessions you'll start seeing the change. So somebody has asked that what is the cause of mental issues in higher education. So I was giving a lecture to a group of students in one of Delhi University colleges, and I spoke to them about what issues they faced in the last few years. Imagine these children. College is supposed to be 3 years of fun and good exposure and a lovely life. I would say we all have this Bollywood idea of going to a college, right? So these children, they've lost out on 2 years out of three because of COVID, right? So they have this sense of loss, that they've lost the best days of their life. That is one. Second is, a lot of children who are from outstation, they had to come here and struggle for living here, creating everything within a year's time, within a few months time. It was very difficult, and these are actual issues that I'm talking about, right? And but of course you also have to understand that these 2 years that they were not talking to anybody, the social skills have gone down. The issues that they could easily in the past could share with anybody, with their peer group or teachers, professors, they are not able to do that. So it is a mix of everything. And coming back to classroom, as I said, they're not able to focus on what is happening in the classroom. A lot of colleges are also keeping these lectures for life skills for children, so that they can understand how important their careers are and how they can now align themselves to achieve their careers better. Because 2 years, some of them have not taken it very seriously, right? So that there is a backlog of curriculum as well, backlog of papers that they have to clear. So these children are under immense pressure from all the sides. That's why the children of this age group, are facing a lot of issues around their mental health. But
Yeah.
Delhi University colleges are actually working around it. They have these sessions arranged for children. I really hope it really helps children.
Thank you, Miss Nandita. We are back, and we really apologize for the inconvenience caused to you and the audience. There was some major technical issue. Okay, I'm back again with all the questions. I'm so sorry, we wasted your time. What are the risk factors for developing depression in childhood or adolescence, ma'am?
See, the it's so diverse. The adversities are so diverse that we every time that these researchers, this a whole community of researchers are already working on how far fetched the issues are, right? So we in the education community, we are able to analyze it because we deal with a lot of children together, right? So in various schools, so we can observe these patterns which are there in children and then try to help them. Yes, of course, it's another debatable issue that which age group is suffering what all kind of issues, and even further leading to certain level of disorders. It's a very big thing. I think we won't have enough time to discuss in this particular session, but
Right.
we should I would suggest if you can probably pick it up with any of the researchers that you have in the network, because they have the real time count of exactly what issues are erupting with children these days, and further how can they lead to various disorders.
Right. In a group, in a class, in a classroom, it's very difficult to keep an eye on each child for a teacher. But what are the common symptoms the teacher should be looking for in the classroom?
Okay, so number one, please identify children who are not talking at all, right? Because number one, it is very difficult to reach out to them. Children who you knew before the COVID who were not introvert, but now they have become more introvert, identify those children, because you have to work a lot on them to bring them back to the normal communication mode. Second is, this is one category of children that you would identify. The other category of children that you need to identify are the ones who are attention seeking, who are like, always wanting your attention, either through the answers that they give. They try to sideline other students in the classroom, and they're always looking for some kind of acknowledgement from you. Again, that is one community, which is the extreme community, right? So they are also facing another level of anxiety altogether, and it is through their extrovertedness or their attention seeking is when they're able to reflect on the issues that are dealing, the anxiousness that are dealing with, right? So these are two very opposite reactions, but the bottom line is the same. They are facing anxiety at one or the other level.
Okay. So, in continuation with that question, at what point do you think the teacher should reach out to the parents?
See, there are various techniques that we have been telling teachers to follow with these two particular categories, and even otherwise also we've done a lot of work with children. But if you think that none of it is working beyond a certain point, that the child is not even showing slightest of improvement in the situation, then I think you must call the parents and discuss everything that you have observed, everything that you have done, and also ask what all the parents have been doing at home. I think one very important thing that we should have already done by now is in the first set of PTM, we should have discussed these points with the parents. But if we haven't already, then I think this is the high time that we should discuss and tell them the observation that you've made about the child, the things that you are doing, the things that they are doing, and how can you break out of it, right? Do it for another month. Help each other, hold hands, and move towards the same direction. Even after 1 month of doing that doesn't work, I think that's when you need a counselor's intervention, either from the school side, or if, as I said, that parents can also opt, a separate session for their children. So I think that's important.
Right. So, I think that answers the question of the next this question. How can teachers be supportive of students with depression? So, you have covered pretty much this.
Communication. Yeah, I think one thing is a lot of times, we are a little scared of sharing these things with the parent, uh, fearing the parent's reaction. But I think teachers must take a stand, and if your observations are right and you have been observing them well, then it is your right to and it is your right and your duty and responsibility as well, that you talk to the parent, that you share all your observations with the parent for the better of the child.
Okay. So, what should schools do right now to care for students' mental health needs, ma'am?
I think there are 2, 3 things that the schools must do, at a grand level. One is involve children in a lot of physical activities. All right. Online competition and all that we have done. But I think the real competition, the real activities, physical activities where children can involve themselves, exhibitions, fete, carnivals, these things needs to be promoted more. Group communication needs to be promoted more, right? You can probably make, one group in the classroom. Like we have circle time with junior children. I think you should also have circle time with older children, where let children talk. Pick up one topic today and let them talk. And let these topics be very personal to them, very personal to their age group. Let them talk about it. This is one. Second is involve parents more in these programs. Have more sessions by the counselors. If you don't have an in-house counselors, and if the in-house counselor is not enough to handle these many children, then you should have some counseling speakers who can come and talk about the current ongoing issues with children. Right? It really works wonder, but it has to be done regularly and not just once in a quarter.
Okay. So coming to the mental disorders, what are the 3 most common mental disorders in childhood?
See, this, I think this is, again, I would say, is a very, very vast area in itself. Right? I can tell you my observations, but again, I am not the right person to term them into disorders. Right? It will be, I can name a few disorders that we have observed in children, but I think I'm not in the right space to analyze that. For that, you must have I would recommend you to have a counselor on board in one of your shows, and then talk about this further.
Right, right. So what made you take an
I think we lost you again, Pravina.
The question is, what made you take an interest in this important topic?
So, okay, so one experience that I had during lockdown in one of my schools, we're facing a lot of difficulty where children are not opening their cameras, they were not coming to talk during online classes. I'm talking about, this is the first COVID lockdown that we are talking about. And we realized that our teenagers, 9, 10, 11, 12, these children were not communicating. They've just shut their communication. And after further analyzing it, we realized that they would not talk because they fear being judged by their teachers, by their supervisors, by their principals. They fear being judged. So I created this online platform wherein we gave a Google form to children. They were given a meeting link in small batches of 25 each, and they were free to be anonymous, not mention their name, not put in their pictures, not put in their videos on, and they were free to come and just talk about issues such as how are they dealing the lockdown, what are the positives of the time that they are getting, what are the negatives of being locked inside the house. And we had a candid conversation with children, and it was an eye opener, because we all have this idea that these are the problems that children might be facing, but the kind of problems that they listed were beyond our imagination, beyond the imagination of the teacher community, right? So that realization was important, so that we know the real issues these children are dealing with, and then match it with the teachers work, so that they can help their children on actual issues. They were not dealing with sitting in front of the camera and taking online classes. They were dealing with a lot of other social issues within their household, right, among themselves. So it was again more social, more emotional social area than the actual working area of the school. They were able to manage their online classes. So that was an eye opener for me. And we did certain sessions to take feedback from children. We did a lot of sessions like that, later on as well. And that's when, my teachers group, they started observing children in a very different context than otherwise. It opened our eyes. So I think that created my interest. And since then, I've been talking about mental health in every podium that I go to, so that to create this awareness, and because it is very important. It is the next pandemic, and we are taking it way too lightly.
Yes, ma'am. It was the need of the hour, and you chose a wonderful topic to talk about it on our platform. That ends the question answer round, ma'am. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk, and we apologize for the delay and whatever the technical problem happened. And you answered all the questions very patiently. We also thank the audience for participating in the event. We'll end the session now, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.